Hello and welcome to round number 9 today in Monza. And without further ado, let's get it started. So, I want to start with something a little bit different. So, here showing my standings so far. So, I'm in ninth position with 102 points. So, this league has a little bit of uniqueness that you get a point for just finishing the race itself, unless you DNF or did not finish. That's when you don't get any points at all. But yeah, because of this, so far in 8 races, so until round 8, I have 102 points and I'm sitting in ninth position. Keeping with the theme of showing something different, so here you see the Monza layout. There are two DRS zones, so you can see there DRS1 and DRS2, one in the main straight, and in total there are 11 turns in this circuit. So this was my qualifying one timing, a 119.6, and improved further for qualifying 2 in 119.3. So now going into Q3, so coming into the last corner here, so going in fifth gear, then going up the gear, so it's really easy to spin your car in that corner, so you need to be careful. So now in eighth gear, your DRS is open. This is one of the longest straights in the calendar. So here you're going in full speed up to 344 kilometers per hour. Here you break into second gear right before the 100-meter board. Going up the gears, you short shift to fourth because you have wheel spin if you don't. So going up the gears here, it's kind of a straight with a bend. Basically, it's just a straight because you don't need to brake or anything like this. Then here you brake into third gear, going into these corners here and going to fourth. So here it's easy to spin your car as well, so you need to be careful. Now going into fourth gear in this corner, here is you need to be careful as well here. Now into fifth gear, going into this corner, then you can attack as much corner as possible. Then your second DRS zone going here as a straight, so it's kind of a second long straight per se. And now you break into fifth gear going into this corner. It's really easy to invalidate your time because you can go in there and you can mistakenly cut track. But now we have gone through the Lesmos and now we are in eighth gear going into the back straight, and now here you break into fifth gear. Here again, as I mentioned before, it's easy to spin, so you need to be careful with your throttle. And you finish the lap, and this lap would be a 119.0, and this lap time would be enough to qualify me for position number 7 in the race. Going into the race strategy, so you go from softs to mediums. There is no other alternate strategy. This is the fastest and best strategy to do it, and your fuel in 1.5 extra laps worth of fuel. So we are now in the formation lap, and I just wanted to show you this anomaly a little bit. So here you can see my tire wear is quite imbalanced. So it's 11 and 12 in the left hand side, and it's only 1% on the right hand side. And this is definitely a game error. This can never happen, to be honest, because when I finished my qualifying lap, it was on all around 5% for all the tires. And this is definitely a game error, a bug in the game. And this was really frustrating because you will see later on what happened because of this. So now we are going to the race itself. So 5 lights, and away we go. So here I get a, let's say, a okay start, to be honest. I actually was overtaken by, you can see, a fast driving Alpha Tauri there. So I keep into the inside, or rather the outside here, and I just keep myself as clean as I can, just going through the bend, trying to give as much space as I can to the other guys there. And here they say I had a collision, but to be honest, I have not seen what collision that was there. But here, ultimately, I only lost one position, and I didn't have any wing damages. So this was quite a relief, to be honest. And here again, you can see some cars are going out. So I inherited 2 other positions. So really good so far, and I'm now in position number 6. Here I wanted to show you something interesting. So here the virtual safety car was ending, and here you need to keep into a delta. So here I was fortunate that I was coming quite fast, and the virtual safety car finished, and I managed to just cut the McLaren there. And because he was trying to keep in his delta and he had to slow down, and that's why it was an easy pass at the end of the day for me. And I've seen this work against me many times, and this time it worked for me. So this was a good position that I went up to P4 at the moment. So now we come up to the first moment of the race. So here I'm breaking into fifth gear, going into these corners, and here as I try to flick left, I have a kind of a moment, and luckily I did not touch the barriers at all, so I did not have any damage. But at this point in time, my tires was just not giving me any good feedback at all. As I mentioned to you before, in the formation lab, I had this imbalance in the tire, and now because of that, I have spun. Yeah, it's just unfortunate. I don't know if I caused the virtual safety car. Was it because of that? But yeah, at this point in time, the only thing that I needed to do was go into the pits because my tires was more or less balded because of that apply of brake that I needed to do to stop myself. And here I just basically went into medium tires. Medium tires would have been a little bit of a stretch, to be honest, in hindsight. But at this point, I did not want to go into the hard tires because the hard tires would be a very bad choice of tires. It's not really easy to go into the hards. Nonetheless, maybe I wanted to go later on to softs. So let's see how the race would go from here. So now I've come in position number 10. Jumping a little bit to lap number 15. So now I'm in ninth position. So you can see the advantage of the medium versus the hard tires here. So I'm catching up with DRS with my rich fuel mixture as well. So it's an easy pass with the Alpha Tauri there. So I made it into eighth position. Yeah, you can just see this is purely because of the tire difference. So skipping a few laps later, so here I decided to come in for my second stop. This was really a late call from my side because I did not yeah, expect to come into the pits. There was nothing wrong, to be honest. I probably could have went on to the medium to finish off my whole stint, but I thought I would just use my soft tires and really burn them out in the next 7 to 8 laps because I had the tires. I had a new brand new soft tires, and I thought maybe I just go out in the soft and just go as fast as I can. So because of this pit stop, I went from 7th to 11th position. So now jumping into lap number 24, you will see the power of the soft tires. So I've basically catched up into the Red Bull in front of me. So he is in 10th position, and I can easily just drive past him more or less using my battery ERS for sure. But yeah, basically I can just use it and just guide through his car, Red Bull, and then now I'm catching up into the Williams in front of me in ninth position. So I'm currently in 10th. You can see in these few corners I'm really catching up already because I have so much more grip in the softs compared to his medium in front of me. I had to almost brake check. He almost brake checks me there. It's not brake checking, but yeah, I had to almost kind of lose a little bit more speed. But then here it was just an easy DRS combined with my ERS, and it was an easy pass at the end. So here I'm already up to ninth position. So now coming in into the final lap. So here just a few things to mention. So I would be having my second moment of the race, but that will come a little bit later. So before that, let's talk a little bit. Here I'm in eighth position. So there was another car in front of me that retired. So I inherited one pole position. And at this point in time, I was quite comfortable just staying behind the position number 7 car because he had a 3 second warning or a penalty. And I did not have this at this point. I had two warnings already so far, and another warning I would get a penalty. So I just needed to be careful here and just make sure I guide through all of these corners and just go through well, and I would get seventh position in this case. Obviously, a little bit of foreshadowing. I would not do this, but yeah, at this point in time, I think my softs was much better than the guys in front soft because he was really slowing down. And I'm using all of my ERS, all of my battery power, all of my fuel at this point, just pushing the limits here. But here, then I just a little bit of lapse of concentration, and I get my third warning, inheriting me my third 3 second time penalty. So here, then the only other thing then would be to pass the car to get seventh, which was unfortunate on my side. But yeah, that was what I needed to do. But here, coming into the last corner, I somehow get a kind of a moment, and here the car just thought, no, you're kidding. And yeah, in the last bend of the last lap of the race. So because of that, I could have finished seventh, but I eventually finished 12th. I was still classified as a finishing position because I was close to the end of the lap. Yeah, and as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, that is important because if you classify yourself as DNF, that means you don't even get any points. But because I finished 12th here, I would get, I think, if I'm correct, I think 9 points, but I could have got 18 points by finishing seventh. But yeah, that is what it is. It's racing, and I have to live with it. So here I want to show you something different as well. So a little bit of telemetry from my vehicle. And basically this shows that in lap number 21, I had my fastest lap. Going into the graph itself, you would see that this is a position versus lap time, where the y-axis on the left and the right is for position and for the lap time, and the x-axis on the bottom is for the number of laps. And here you can see a few things. Basically, the spikes that you can see are where I went to the pits. I had a pit stop, and naturally, when you go to the pits, your time will be increased. That is why you see the spikes there. But otherwise, the spikes was more or less quite standard. That means I had a kind of a good race without any crashes or something like this. Obviously, there was this one. There's these two incidences that happened towards the in the start and towards the end. And the end, of course, is not recorded here because it's already I could not finish the lap, so it's a DNF more or less. And also in terms of the position, you can see that I went as good as fourth position, but at the end I finished in 12th. So yeah, a different type of video. I hope you liked this new format. Thank you very much for watching, and hope to see you guys in the next video.